7th of the Commissioners Task Force on ESSER is called to order. The meeting is live streamed on YouTube so the public may observe and listen. Welcome to everybody that's listening online. I was concerned a little bit at the beginning about a quorum, but we have many people, because a few people had indicated they couldn't be here, but we have well more than we need. So I appreciate you giving up a summer Friday afternoon. Today's agenda has been provided. Are there any changes, recommended changes? And if not, a motion would be in order to approve today's agenda.
Melissa Rooker, so moved.
Okay, Melissa, thank you. Melissa and Bert, thank you. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, motion carries. You've had the opportunity to review the minutes of May the 6th. Are there any corrections or additions to those minutes? If not, a motion would be in order to approve.
Melissa Rooker, so moved.
Thank you.
Bert Lewis, second.
Thank you. The Melissa and Bert show today. Thank you very much. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed, thank you. That is that sort of business is out of the way now. So Doug, it's all yours.
Thank you, Chairman Porter. So welcome to a beautiful June day, and we'll try to get through this as quickly as we can. So we're going to start with ESSER 2 changes, just like we have been. So we've got 16 districts that submitted ESSER 2 changes. Those 16 districts, that will bring their total amount to 12.4 million. The changes represent an additional almost $900,000. And you can see that here again. All districts have submitted ESSER 2s. We've got 16 on the docket for today. Like I said, that'll bring their total that they have asked permission to spend up to 12.4 million. So most of these, or a lot of these again, are just districts moving money around. Things come in over cost, under cost, and so they make those changes and then possibly add a few things with what the extra that they may have come up with. So Rock Hills and Fort Leavenworth are just moving some money into different accounts. Rock Hills for professional development, Fort Leavenworth for cleaning supplies and paying for substitutes. Norton is actually using up the rest of their allocation. That'll put them at their total, and that's for premium pay. Then Smith Center, using up the rest of theirs, going for salaries and curriculum. Mulvane and Plainville, moving money around, making room for some changes in salaries and cleaning supplies. Chase County is going to purchase some flexible seating with the extra that they've come up with. Chautauqua, even with the amount included in here for premium pay and curriculum, they're still going to have about $50,000, a little over $50,000 left in their ESSER 2 funds. And Holcomb then, the additional money will bring them up to their full allocation, and that's for their summer school activities, a lot of it. And then some mental health resource type positions that they've created. Garnett and Lyons, once again, just moving money around. Lyons is actually a pretty big one. They have made room to increase the value of their HVAC. And so HVAC has gone up and salaries have actually gone down in the ESSER 2 allocation. And then Smoky Valley is using up the rest of their allocation for mental health services. Then Little River and Valley Heights, once again, just some things over and under estimates. Little River is going to use their extra for premium pay, and Valley Heights for cleaning supplies. And then Liberal is using up the rest of their allocation for premium pay and curriculum. And then finally, the last one, Parsons, once again, just moving money around into different approved accounts, but for PPE and software are the main things there. As we look at where we're at, an additional 900,000 almost today in these change requests, 285.5 million already approved, leaving us with 57.1 million that still has not been spoken for. And if we look at the allowable use categories, we are sitting at about 84% of those going towards those teaching and learning categories.
Okay, we have a question from Brenda.
Yes, thank you so much. Can you refresh my memory on what happens to the funds, these ESSER II funds, if a district doesn't expend all that they've been allocated?
If they don't get them spent by or obligated by September 30th of 2023, then they will go back to the federal government.
Okay.
So, and I just, as an FYI, as we're looking at that 57 million or whatever that's left, we know that about 32 million of that is Wichita, is part of Wichita's ESSER II, and we know that they're working towards getting their change submitted to us so we can get that taken care of.
Okay, let's go ahead and vote on ESSER II and ESSER III separately. So if there are no further questions, a motion would be in order to approve ESSER II request.
This is Bert Lewis, and I so move.
Okay, Bert makes that motion. Is there a
Adam
second?
Thomas, second.
Okay, Adam, thank you. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And now let's go on to ESSER III. And in the future, let's go ahead and list the votes separately on the agenda. I just violated the agenda. So I will ask for forgiveness as opposed to permission.
Okay, so moving on to ESSER III. Our districts that we conditionally approved back in February and March, we have 7 more that have completed the narratives and their stakeholder engagement pieces, submitted those, and now we consider them to be fully approved. Guess we've got a slide about that a little bit later, so I'll talk about it then. 26 districts today submitted ESSER III plans, representing $32.5 million. So where we're at now, you all and the state board have approved 59 plans for 111 million. We still have 10 plans left from those that were conditionally approved back in February and March. So we're getting through those, we're getting closer to having those done. And then the 26 for today, we've got 46 more plans that are currently under review by the team, and then 145 that have not submitted at this time. Looking at the demographics of the district, we're still down. This group represents still a predominantly smaller districts. 21 of them are in that 0 to 1,000 student count. Looking at how much of their allocation they're spending in these original submissions, 65 of the 95 that we've had in front of us are using up pretty much the whole allocation. Looking at the 26 districts overall, they had $43.5 million available to them. These plans represent 32.5, which leaves $11 million that they still need to determine how they're going to use. Expenditures per district runs from 117,000, which was Leota, but that's only 20% of their allocation, up through 7.7 million. That's Turner. And then the per pupil spending 160 is DeSoto, but that's only 26% of their allocation, up to 2,500, which is Independence. Looking at the teaching and learning categories, we're standing at about 88% of the funds today are going towards those activities. And then cumulative, 119 million has been approved so far, 32.5 million today, leaving us with $615 million worth of ESSER 3 funds. And then the categories down at the bottom still sitting at 78% approximately going towards those teaching and learning categories.
Questions?
Mr. Porter, I have a couple of questions.
Go right ahead, Bert.
For some of you on here, I know you think I'm a, I don't know, a pain in somebody's side, and I probably am, but I am very concerned with what is being spent or what is being proposed when I'm speaking to my people, as in the teachers, and I was able to speak to at least 6 of the districts that have applications in today. One of them told me, BS, and I believe we all are adults and know what that means, telling us something, and in quotes, the district's plan is not a discussion. One district sent out a survey and there was no direct conversation. Another district, there was no direct back and forth discussion, just a survey, and then telling them the plan. In their own narrative off of the applications from another district, survey participants were asked to pick the highest 3 that they preferred. Picking your highest 3 in a discussion is not a meaningful conversation. And the list goes on. Those were 3 of the ones that I could pull out. So I'm concerned about that and allowing everybody's voice to be heard. And then the second thing I have a concern about, and I sent these to Chairman Porter and Dr. Watson, and those were the fact that in several of these applications, and I realize in some of them they're asking for more implementation or more explanation, not implementation, but in one of them, they're wanting to purchase a bus, which we've already discussed. We didn't think that was appropriate for a district out west, and this is a Southeast Kansas district. And then in their allowable use, they're spending a little over $400,000 planning for and coordinating during long-term closures, including how to provide meals, technology, online learning, guidance, and carrying out the IDEA requirements, and providing educational services consistent with the application requirements. I was under the impression, since our legislature for Kansas has said you can't do that, that we probably weren't doing that. So can somebody help me out on that?
So as far as the bus piece goes, we have approved buses in the past. The one in Western Kansas that we did not approve or did not feel was reasonable was a bus that cost $250,000 and had all the bells and whistles on it. So it was the Cadillac of buses. I believe at that time we had talked about that you could buy 2 or 3 regular buses for the same price that that one bus was going to cost. So it wasn't necessarily that we weren't allowing buses. It was that particular make and model and everything that it came with. So we have, for expanding bus routes and social distancing and those kinds of things, we have approved buses in the past. Just
Okay, I stand corrected on that. Thank you.
Can you tell me what?
It's on page 8, 23, 24, and 25 of our pre-reading material.
And
And
what
it is the Ballina School District.
what is the line item that was flagged as for number 8 allowable use.
Okay, the one thing you asked me, I didn't look up. Give me just a second. Sorry, guys. Okay, line item 499-3-0012 and 14 on that district. It's for, one of them is for $370,000 and the other is for $110,000. So you're talking $480,000.
But what specifically is the expense?
It says full-time teacher salaries. And in other places you've asked how many this covers or what it does. In this one, it wasn't asking that.
Okay. So I guess going back to your point about number 8, yes, the legislature said that we were not going to allow remote learning, but one of the allowable uses is to prepare for that. And we actually had that discussion on another item this morning for some of the districts that we were reviewing. My guess would be that they chose the wrong allowable activity for what was actually being purchased on that one. So if it was for a teacher salary for a couple of years, that would not be 8, that would be a allowable use 16, which includes teacher salaries. So I don't know what the one for 300,000 is though.
It is for 2 years. There's 100, it says full-time certified salaries, so more than one, but it doesn't designate how many. There's 185,000 in 2023 and 185,000 in 2024.
Okay.
So I'm assuming it's several teacher salaries, but right in a row on that particular district, there's 3 that all deal with salaries. And they all had that same allowable use, which probably needs to be changed to 16. I understand that now, but where one set of salaries is 55,000 and then it jumps up to 185,000 and doesn't say how many positions, I was just concerned.
And Doug and Bert, I do see that we did, I've got pulled up on our, we did follow up with the district on how many FTE that was and a little bit more. Their response may have been included in the district's comment box, which doesn't populate on here. So give us a moment and we'll see if we can pull that up and share it. Good call out.
While we're waiting for Dean to pull that up, are there other questions or comments?
I would just offer a comment that I really appreciate, Bert, your conversations that you've had with others and the investigation.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that because I feel like our voice needs to be heard. And a meaningful conversation to me is not a survey and not some of the other things that have been happening. I want us districts to have this money just as much as the other person. We just need to jump through the right hoops and cross the I's and dot the T's, in my opinion.
And we don't disagree with you, but at this point in time in the process, we have to take districts at their word that they've done what they said they were going to. At some point in time in the near future, they will have to show their work. And at that point, when they can't, or if they can't, then they'll be looking at returning money and figuring out how to pay for those items.
This is Tracy Callard. I'm the other teacher on the committee. I am a K-8 teacher in Wichita, and I'm in a car right now, so I don't have any video access. But this is definitely a district problem. I have to say Wichita has been very inclusive, both the union, and they've also encouraged individual teachers to bring research-based programs to our superintendent and to the director of the ESSER program in our district. And they've really been very inclusive to us, but our union has been active and also individual teachers have been active. But is there any sort of oversight mechanism by KSDE or by the board to ensure that districts are including the stakeholders?
That was what my previous comment was alluding to, that at this point in time, all we are doing is trying to get through the applications, collect the data that we need to supply to the feds. We have not had the opportunity to go out and actually monitor on site to see the documentation that goes along with what they've told us. But that is part of the process. That's what our team will be doing. But at this point in time, we are relying on the districts telling us what they have done.
And if you'll look at the chat, you'll see that Dean has responded.
So 3 different positions for that $185,000.
And I saw that, and thank you both, Dean and Tate, for your information.
Are there further questions?
I have a comment.
Go
Chair
ahead,
Porter.
Jamie.
I want to take the opportunity to applaud the efforts of our superintendents and district offices around the state that are trying to work through all the requirements of ESSER applications and ESSER reporting. I know there's a lot of frustration and a lot of sharing of ideas to see how to reach a common goal, and it had been easy. But I do think it's worth noting that the efforts have been there and have been extensive along the way. Thanks.
Thank you, Jamie. Anything else? Seeing nothing, a motion would be in order to approve the ESSER 3 applications.
Mr. Chairman, Adam Thomas, so moved.
Thank you, Adam. Is there a second?
Jamie
Jason
Rufford,
Limbaugh,
second.
second.
I see Jason. I think I saw you a split second before I saw Jamie. Jason, any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Appreciate your diligence, appreciates the time that you spend. It's very difficult for me to have this many people together as an old music teacher without starting choir practice, but I have so far I've been able to avoid that temptation. In that case, when is our next meeting? July the 8th. We'll see you July the 8th, and we are adjourned.